and welcome to it's Flag Day, and it's going to be another hot day. Hope everyone survived the storms. There were a lot of storms in lots of places. I think, at least in Sydney, we got rather lucky, at least in my neighborhood, I guess. There were some bad storms at the lake, and some of our friends where we have our place had to go take shelter. And it's funny, someone posted on our group page that they took shelter in the car wash. And I've done that before. I've gotten on the golf cart and flown as fast as I could drive it to the car wash. It's a brick structure. At least you feel a little safer than you do in your camper. So I'm careful of the heat today. I would guess if you could stay in, that you should probably just stay in today. So we gather in our continued conversation around our daily word and how it speaks to us. So I've chosen this morning from Proverbs these powerful words. Often these are words that many people commit to memory because they help give us some guidance. And it's from Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 through 6. And the words are these, and you probably know them. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not rely on your own intelligence. Know him in all your paths, and he will keep your live in. If we don't have knowledge, we live in a time where we just use Google, and we can search anything we want. It just comes to us. And I know some folks like to doctor themselves by using Google. And so they have a symptom, so they Google, and then, of course, they get scared to death because of what Google has to say to them. We have a lot of intelligence in our world. Computers used to be huge. Now computers are, the size of the watch on my wrist. We have lots of intelligence in cars that drive themselves and control themselves. But we found, that in some of those cases, they lead us astray, right? Self-driving cars have caused really bad crashes. Are relying on Google searches has caused us trouble and even fear that we probably could avoid. And I think the list goes on and on with that, right? We understand that our intelligence and our ability to find out things sometimes guides us down paths that we shouldn't go. And it seems to me that in those times when we're overwhelmed by all the intelligence and technology that's around us, that we take a step back and think about what this scripture might mean for us. Trust in the Lord. Trust is the word batah, which means having the sense of security in something, which comes from being able to rely on it, such as relying on God, having confidence in God. It is who we trust in our lives. God to guide us and lead us. We rely on God is to rely on. The scripture says we shouldn't lean on our own intelligence, but we should trust God in the midst of our lives. And I know that for some of us, there's a rub there, and there is for me as well. I'm a person who believes that God provides knowledge and intelligence with doctors and specialists and folks who work in NASA and all kinds of things. There's so many smart people who are doing great things with technology and medicine and surgeries and all those kind of things. And we trust them to do their work. But there's this reminder in Scripture for us that we should trust in the Lord with all of our hearts, not lean on, as different versions say, our own understanding, but in all our ways acknowledge Him, and He will make our paths straight. So I got to thinking about that, as we think about where we are in our world and the struggles we face and the difficulties that are in us or lie ahead of us, in our own physical health or difficulties, whatever they are, there is this reminder for us that first and foremost, we should trust God with all of our hearts. That we should not lean on our own understanding. To say, look, what I know is what I know, and that's what I know. And that gets us in trouble. And to trust God in the paths that we should go. I don't know about you, but me sometimes, have a destination in mind, or where I'm going to go, or a time in mind. And if you're like me, sometimes for us to trust God with our paths, to help us keep straight in the way we should go. And I think that's such an important thing for us in the lives that we're living. I asked the question on Sunday, what if we get this right? What if we get this right? And part of getting it right is in this, I believe. Trusting in God with all our heart, not relying on our own understanding, but in all of our ways acknowledge God, who will make our path straight. If we're going to get this right, maybe this is one of the key things that we need to come back to. To trust God with all of our hearts and to begin there if we're going to get it right in our world. I heard a podcast yesterday, and there's this new book coming out, and the premise of it, I ordered it, it's supposed to come today. The premise of it is a church worth dying for. And I got to thinking about that in all the ways that we go about being faithful and being Christian. And adding on to the question, what if we get this right? What would it look like for us to have a church that we would die for? Thought about that with Marion yesterday, 97, and her faithfulness to this place. And then I think about it, our youngest person right now happens to be my little granddaughter. But we have others, who are just a little older than her, then some are older than her, and some are a little older. And I'm in the middle of doing all of these Boy Scout, Eagle references for them. I'm so proud of these people who are doing these young men and women. I think about that in relation to this scripture and the importance of what we do and how we live. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Don't lean on your own intelligence. Know Him in all your paths, and He will keep your ways straight. I want to get it right. I want us to get this right. And maybe it's beginning again to trust God with all of our heart. So that's the word that I have for us today. I hope it's a good word that will speak to us. Keep cool. Stay out of the sun if you can. Know God's love that surrounds you. Know of my love for you. And I'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Have a great day.